Last year, I had a scary experience where I got a bleed in my left eye, and suddenly my vision got very blurry in my left eye. And went to my optician, and they checked me out. They sent me to an eye doctor, and he started a series of observations, and then actually, horribly to say this, but injections into my left eye to stop that bleed. It still hasn't recovered totally, but what also happened within a couple of months of that is that my right eye started to also get blurry vision. Now, I've worn glasses for pretty well all of my adult life, but I've always been able to read without my glasses, do computer work without my glasses. And suddenly last year, focus was gone. I had trouble reading. I had to start wearing glasses to read, and it was difficult. Double vision, all sorts of challenges around my focus with my vision. Now, this year it's gotten way better. The bleed stopped, and things are, well, it's not back to the way they were. Things are definitely way improved, and I can read again without my glasses, and I'm on the way to being better. But it's fascinating how much it impacts your life when you lose focus, when you lose clarity of vision. And in this particular scenario, I want to teach you how to maintain focus over the course of a year of your work. I want to help you with your productivity, encourage you to become more effective in not just your use of time, but your use of energy and your use of focus. And lastly, I'm going to point you to a resource that I think can really help you in this whole area. So let me take you through how I stay focused. And I call this my 5 column framework. Now, I use a particular app for this. The app is Trello. I've used Trello for many years and I found it brilliant. I've used it in different ways at different times, but I found particularly to maintain focus, I've really found the app Trello to be very helpful. However, with my 5 column framework, you don't need to use Trello. You don't need to use any particular app. You could just use a plain old Word document, even Notepad document will suffice. You could use a spreadsheet if you wanted to. It's basically, I find Trello just helps me organize my columns easily so I can see them at one glance. So I like to use that. Some people use Basecamp, Asana, Evernote, Notion. There are so many apps for productivity. So let me talk you through my 5 column framework. My first column is what I call my 3 annual words with goals column. Every year I come up with 3 words to frame my year. I've only been doing this for a couple of years, but I found it really helpful to get me focused on the macro things, the big picture issues, the big rocks, and getting them in focus. So this year I have 3 words: expand, farm, flourish. I'll give you a bit of an understanding of those words, but with each of those words, I have measurable numeric goals, things that I want to achieve. So, expand. I want to expand, and this is what I'm focused on this year, expanding into podcasting, into YouTube, expanding my reach online, expanding through masterminds. I'm running masterminds in South Africa and different parts of Australia this year. So, I have expansion on mind. And for each expansion, I have specific numeric goals. So if you're listening to this, so if you're watching this on YouTube, help me get my goals by subscribing, please, for the content. Get more of my content as the year rolls along. Then I have farm. What's farming? Well, farming is sowing and reaping into the same paddocks that you were sowing and reaping into last year. So my consulting, my coaching, my blogging, things that I've been doing now for years, they're now in a farming sequence of sow, reap, sow, reap. I have many repeat clients in my consulting and coaching. I have people who work with me for few years, go away and come back and say, I want to work with you again. And that's all sowing and reaping and farming. And again, I have numeric goals around each one of them. And the last word is flourish. This is about my own personal well-being at a soul, spiritual level, at a physical level, a mental level, emotional level, all about flourishing. Again, I have particular numeric goals. So they go into my 3 annual words with goals column. Sounds like a mouthful, doesn't it? But you get the idea. It's the macro picture. Then out of that macro picture, and again, I must emphasize, you must have, I think, a macro overarching emphasis if you want to get really great traction out of your focal points. So I set quarterly priorities. So every 3 months, January to March, April to June, and so on through the year, I establish key priorities that are linked back to those 3 words with the numeric goals. So if I'm looking at expanding, in January and February this year, I recorded my first podcast, the Build a Leadership Pipeline podcast, 27 episodes, standalone podcast that's already out there now in the wild and had over 1,000 downloads. Really happy with that, thrilled with that. So I had a particular priority through the first 3 months of this year on that expansion. The same with farm, booking in consults, locking in coaching, things that, again, I was sowing and reaping in, maintaining those paddocks, if you like, and again, flourishing. So quarterly priorities, those 3 months, is the second column. The third column in my 5-column framework is current projects. So out of the quarterly priorities, I would list another column. Well, out of all these big priorities, the 3 words of goals and the quarterly focus, what really are the current projects I'm just really working on? I really want to be effective with those projects. Now, those projects are tied to the quarterly priorities, which are tied to the 3-word annual words with goals focus. So you can see that there's a flow together. I'm ultimately aiming to achieve everything in my first column of the annual words with goals. So I'll pick current projects. So my current project in this quarter is my YouTube channel. That's a huge project for me, and I'm doing what I'm doing right now, filming videos, promoting videos, getting out there with shorts, watching the analytics, doing all that. It's a current project. Masterminds that I'm going to be running in South Africa, that's a current project. Again, it's related back to the previous column. So I have current projects, and then I list those current projects. Now, I have in that current project list a maximum of 7 projects, no more than 7, preferably less. In other words, I don't just get a new project and throw it in there. I go, you know what? I've got 6 projects in there at the moment. That's plenty. Don't need to have any more. And I have another way of capturing other ideas I get so they don't crowd in on my current projects. The 4th column is next actions. And when I have a work day on my computer, if I'm not away consulting, if I'm not having a day off, I'm on my computer, I'm going to be working on my current projects. I have a 4th column that's called next actions. And these are very specific next steps. So if the current project is around my YouTube channel, because that's one of the priorities of this quarter, and that's related to my annual word of expand and a goal of getting so many YouTube subscribers, so many videos, etc. out there, then the next action might be is work on the next video project. Write the title, the thumbnail, the description. What's the topic going to be? It might be a next action is I'll spend time today brainstorming topics for future videos. In other words, it's a simple step that I can take within the 8-hour day that I'm working. So it's not something that's about next week, it's something about today. So that by the end of the day, I want to clear that next action column, or at the very least, I want to go through it and say, did that one, did that one, did that one. I'll leave that there. That'll carry over until tomorrow, which is often happens to me. I don't get to all my next actions, but I have it. And it's great during the day. I go, right, what's next on my next action column list? That one, great. But the beauty of this is that I know it's connected back to a current project, which is linked to a quarterly priority, which is linked back to how to stay focused on my 3 annual words with goals. So you can see there is a flow in this 5-column framework. Well, what's the 5th column? Well, I have a column because I am an ideas guy. I get so many ideas, to be honest with you, too many ideas. I have a 5th column that helps me. It's called future projects. And I'll put projects in there. And again, it's a maximum of 7. So if I come up with a, whoa, new project, I'll look at the future projects and go, all right, I'm already got 7 in there. What am I going to lose to add this one? And I'll go, you know what, I'm going to think about that. I don't think that that's really in my top 7 future projects. I'm just going to let that go to the wind, let it loose, let it fly away. And if it comes back to me at a later date, great. If it doesn't, great. I am not going to have a future projects column that has 37 points in it because I'll never get to them. And this is a process that allows me to filter new ideas because, to be honest with you, I get more ideas than I can action. So this allows me to focus. And if you want to maintain focus over a year, you need, I believe, a system that allows you to process things in a way that you can look at any time, day, week, or month, or quarter. If you sit down, I do a quarterly review and retreat day where I go through how is my focus going, how are my annual words goals, how's my quarterly priorities, how's my current projects. Just clean it up, make sure it's all online. I do that every 3 months. I sit down and work through that. What I find is that I actually am able to maintain laser focus over the course of the year. And I can get to the end of the year, look at column 1, the 3 annual words of goals, and go, you know what? I'm effective. I'm productive. I'm achieving. And for my personality, that really suits me. Now, not everyone is wired the way I'm wired, of course. Of course not. Not everyone's wired like me. You may feel like, I couldn't work. It's too structured, that system. But for some of you who feel like I get so distracted and I'm on this project and that thing, and then I'm away with the fairies on another thing. I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, I don't even know what I'm achieving. This may really help you. Whatever tool you use, the tool is not the important thing here. The focus is the important thing. Now, I've got a resource for you in the Hub. The Hub is my one-stop resource center for church leaders where you can jump in. There are roadmaps on how to grow your church, how to build a leadership pipeline, how to raise more money for ministry, how to actually create a simple strategic plan for your church, how to do a succession process. There's 7 amazing roadmaps in there, but there's also a masterclass on how I use Trello to organize my life. So check out the link, get in there. The first 14 days are on me and the Hub. Try it out, check it out, enjoy it. I know you will.